Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm so glad you're here this Friday morning. We have a great show lined up. But first, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. And by the way, they're starting some construction there. They're four-laning that Baldwin segment right in front of the school there. Starting now, it's going to go into the summer and hopefully be finished by the fall. So just be aware of that when you're driving that area. It's not bad now. High today, 89, the low 76, and the water temperature is at 81 degrees. So it's being warm. It's warming up a lot. So take a look at our river readings. Everybody wants to know what's going on the river, and it's 5.4 this morning. And the big river, the Apalachicola River, really looks good, okay? The Choctawhatchee is dropping out this morning. It's at a 5.4. Ironically, both rivers are reading a 5.4 this morning. It doesn't happen very often. It's dropping on down. It's going to get around 4 foot by Sunday afternoon. So good situation on the rivers there. The marine forecast is going to be coming out of the north at about 5 to 10, okay? Let's take a look at the tomorrow, the tides today and also tomorrow, because on Fridays I like to look at both tides. It's brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn and Funeral Home and Cemetery. And their motto is when carrying counts, okay? We're looking at a 4:22 a.m. I'm sorry, it's actually going to be 11:59, right in the middle of the day. Right there at noon is going to be the high tide, and low will be 11:09 tonight. But look at those tides. We still have strong tides coming for today and tomorrow. Next week's tides won't be near as strong as we've had. We've had over 2 foot tides all week long. It's been a great week of fishing. Today and tomorrow will continue that great fishing as far as the conditions of the tide movement. So be aware of that, okay? Let's look at our times today, brought to us by Mark Coward of Edgewater Beach Realty. Mark's number is 832-6000. Give Mark a call anytime on any of your real estate needs. Let's see, I got them wrong this morning, okay? I'm going to have to change. It's really 4:22. You know what, I don't know if I'm going to change that or not. 4:22, okay, it's going to be the time. What I did, I put in the next week, 4:22 and actually 4:47, okay? So I'm going to show you real quick. We're going to get it right. Okay, got a 2-hour block this morning, 4:22 to 6:22, and this afternoon, 4:57 to 6:57, okay? That takes care of that. We'll take our break and be back with our guest. Welcome back, and welcome as always to Brad Stevens.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Brad, I'm doing great, buddy. Glad to have you on this Friday morning.
I'm glad to be here on this Memorial Day weekend.
I know, man. Everything's going to be hopping.
It is, it is.
I know. I talked to you at the shop yesterday. You were just slammed.
I did. I couldn't figure out who I was supposed to be calling back and where I was supposed to be going.
You said your list was that long and people coming in and out. That's a great problem to have.
It's one of those things. Tell my family this time of year you got to catch me, because by the time I turn around to getting back to you, the milk's already soured.
And listen, you were talking about your guys out at the 77 store, 79 store, doing a great job on the tackle.
Man, they're knocking it out of the park.
Yeah. I'm coming out there next week getting this big surf rod you're talking about.
Yeah, old West End Steve's been wearing out the, man, I don't even remember the name. It's the Ultegra Shimano rod, a reel, and then they got the Shimano surf rod. Mm-hmm. He's able to cast easily out past the second sandbar without getting wet. Those days of waiting to waist-deep water to get your bait out there, they're over. Especially in the spring and fall, it's just too cold for that mess.
That's true, it is.
You know, that time you go out there and it just takes the fun out. I mean, it just takes the fun out of it. That's all there is to it.
You're exactly right. You've been there, done that.
Yeah, it's that's one reason I got into kayak fishing, so I could stay a little drier.
Yeah.
I don't like wade fishing. I don't like those mystery bubbles. Y'all can call me a sissy all you want. It's okay. I don't like standing there in waist-deep water and having the bubbles start running up my leg. I know you catch bigger fish, but at the end of the day, I don't like it.
Well, the guys out there are, they're going to sell stuff that's, because they fish themselves.
Absolutely.
And they're selling stuff that people can catch fish with. So, what's hot this month, really?
It's about time for these crabs to kick off. These haven't started just yet. I know I've said that every month, but they're starting to see some little crabs out and about. These are definitely going to be good. They're just good little crabs, and they actually float. So what you do is you pair it with a weighted hook. You put a weighted hook on here, and so you can get some distance on here, and these jokers will sit on the bottom, and all the legs and even the claws will want to float, so they'll shoot right up to the top. and it'll look like that crab is in fighting position. So right before they get ate, they go to fighting position. So if you're a red cruising along the flat and you see a tasty treat in fighting position, you assume something else is about to eat that tasty treat. So you eat it, whether you're hungry or not, because you sure don't want your brother to have it, so you're going to have it. And so that's where a lot of these baits, they look like they're in retreat mode or defense mode, so it looks like they're actively being pursued by another fish. So that's just another mental game to play on these fish.
And every little segment works on that.
It does, it does. The new hottest bait, hands down, is the egrets. The voodoo mullet, the voodoo shrimp, they're just absolutely on fire. This is the smaller shrimp called the baby shrimp. Has people having good luck with these smaller baits right now. Rumor has it the shrimp in the bay are really small right now. So back to that old match the hatch thing. And then also elephants eat peanuts. And then here's the next size up on some of the voodoo shrimp. We have gobs of colors in these. Somebody told us we had the biggest spread of it. I can't verify that because I haven't gone around and looked at all the other tackle shops. But we've heard that more than once. So if you want any voodoo product, swing us in. And we got a handful of our guys in the shop who's actually made pro staff for egret. They contacted them and said, hey, they called me and they said, thank you for selling so much of our product. What are you doing so we can help spread that around? I said, man, just our staff fell in love with your product and it catches fish on it. So when people come in and go, man, we're going here. We were there 2 days ago and this is what we used. It's what sells. So they made their pro staff, not by them seeking them out for stuff, but just by the manufacturer seeking them out, basically saying thank you for selling so much of our product. These soft plastic baits are about to really take off around here. See the big eyes on these things? This is another egret product. This is their wedge tail baits. The speckled trout are going to love this here. We're just a few weeks out from these big paddle tails working. We got them in all the popular colors. They just have a nice spread of these out there at the Highway 79 location, the Sunjammers. You're going to rig, rig these like you would any paddle tail. You're going to get weedless. You can put a jig head on it. You can put a worm hook on it. Fishing's fishing. It doesn't matter. Just because the bait changed, some manufacturers say you got to use our hook, you got to use this, you got to use that. All that's hogwash. Put whatever hook you're used to on there and go for it.
What's great? I'm sitting here thinking that you're talking about this. What's great about it? People are always asking, what kind of baits are you using? What's hitting and all? This is like a little clinic on Friday morning and showing exactly what the fish are biting right now. And that's what's so great about you bringing this stuff out, because you guys are out there fishing and we're fishing, and that's what people are using.
They're on the front lines.
That's right.
It's they basically every week, and Coach saw me this morning, I cut this box open. I don't look at our stock levels and say, hey, send me X, Y, Z. I called the 79 location. Yesterday it was Big Al. I said, Big Al, I'm on Panhandle Outdoors. I need the baits on what's hot. He puts them in a box. He tapes them up. I literally untaped it on the show here, and I saw all this about 15 minutes ago. Yep. I'm familiar with the product because we sell it, but I don't know what's hot because I'm not at that location right now. And they are just wearing it out there, doing a phenomenal job helping y'all catch fish. Unfair Lures, this has been an up-and-down company in the Panhandle. They had some supply issues, so it was really hot.
It was.
It took everything by storm, and they couldn't keep up, so they kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Well, it's a good-looking bait. I mean, it just looks like
it is. It's a great bait. Yeah. Here you're looking at a rip and slash in their greenie, and new for this year, we've expanded to what they call a new arrowhead bait, and this is two of their arrowheads right here. Just great baits. They work in the water really well. A lot of flash, a lot of detail goes into these baits. Then we still have their shrimps, their mullets, all their tried and true ones, are still in stock out there at the beach.
What about a casting plug out there?
Oh, yeah. Well, here's one more egret kick-a mullet. We're going to show you some pictures here in a little bit. About all you're going to see in the pictures, just the red up. The fish literally just inhaled this entire bait. This has a big jointed tail on it that's hard to see on TV. And it just puts out a lot of pressure. And for you surf guys, this bait right here, it's the crippled herring. It will cast a mile. I believe these are 5 ounces.
Yeah, they're real heavy.
Real heavy. It'll cast a mile, but yet it has great action in the water. Surf guys are able to cast well beyond the second sandbar with these. Boaters and kayakers are like, you're chasing that bait school down. I'm hoping there's going to be some blackfin in there, some kingfish. you can just never quite catch that bait school. We've all ran, stop. This will allow you just to cast well beyond that, then work it back through it.
And I love that single hook on the tail.
Yep,
that's great.
Single hook. We're changing a lot of our hooks on all these baits out to single J hooks.
Yeah.
They're just significantly better on the fish, especially if you're targeting those big bull reds.
And
you
it's better,
gotta release them.
better on the handler too when you're trying to unhook them.
Absolutely, you got one hook to worry about. You ain't got to worry about all that big old line of trebles.
Good. Okay, look, now we're going to come back and show you some pictures of some fish that these lures have caught. Okay, so we'll take a break and be right back. Now, welcome back. Here, Brad Stevens of Sunjammers, one of our loyal sponsors from day one. Just always glad to have him come on the show and show us all this stuff. God, we're going to jump into these pictures now, but first, before we're going to look at Brad's pictures, I got a couple of our viewers we're going to show. Check this out. Is that not a great doubleheader? Will Nelson, that's a 7.4-pound bass and a 6.3-pound bass one afternoon from the Sandhill Pond. Brad, that's a good-looking picture.
That's a good bag.
Nice bass. And then one more redfish picture. Bill Barfield, kayaking.
That's in a Hobie Pro Angler.
Yes, sir. And caught it. He loved that fish so much he just gave him a big kiss. All right. Now we're going to some of these pictures that Brad brought in. These are some great pictures. I want you to tell us about these pictures, Brad, as we get them up here on the screen. Okay.
Yeah, this one right here that's a Tommy Chambliss. He's out of the Atlanta area. He's one of our good customers that comes down. He's fishing out of a Hobie Mirage Pro Angler. He was trolling a big hardtail he was wanting a big old smoker king. And he got this thing. It took him about 30-40 minutes to get this thing to the boat. It's a big old wahoo. You can see it laid there across his lap.
Is that beautiful?
It is well over 4 foot. I know it's hard to tell with these angles how big they are, but from the seat of that boat to the center part of the hatch on his Pro Angler is right at about 4 foot. So I don't catch enough of these to know how much it weighs, but I can promise you there's some meat on the backbones of that thing.
Well, and the great thing about wahoo, everybody thinks you got to go fast trolling, but he wasn't fast trolling on that.
We've caught our biggest wahoo not fast trolling, just as a bycatch of it. You know, I think, and somebody will correct me if I'm wrong on this, I'm sure, you can catch wahoo high-speed trolling, but you don't have to. You know, it's just throw big baits out when you're slow trolling because those fish, that bait does not have to be going 15 miles an hour.
That's right.
The advantage of being able to troll faster for them is when you're going from spot to spot, you can still have a chance of getting a solid hookup.
That's what it is, yeah. Okay, this next picture.
That's a redfish that just swallowed that big old, that kick mullet, that last bait we showed you from egret. That bait swallowed all the way down that redfish.
All right.
And this is speckled trout. That's going to be Brian Richardson's 4-pound 1 ounce. This is the speckled trout tournament that the Panama City Fishing Club has going on. It's not too late to enter. I think James Pick was on here talking about it a week or so ago. Then this right here was the first one that was weighed in. It was Perry Hall at 3 pounds 9 ounces. This one it only lasted a day on the leaderboard, and then his buddy Brian bumped him. Then a couple nights ago, here's our buddy Charlie out in another Hobie kayak. He got an unfair lure shrimp. That big old redfish fell victim to it. And one thing about all these big reds you see any of our guys catching, they're going to catch them, they're going to pull them out for just a second, get the picture, remove the hook, and then they spend 5 or 10 minutes reviving these fish so they can go back. That's our breeder fish. If we mess up that population of fish, redfishing, as we know it, is over.
Yeah, and they're so good about reviving those fish and all. So many of them catch them. Of course, those are illegal to keep anyway. But you really take your time, and a lot of times people go really lightweight stuff, and sometimes that's not really good for the really big fish. But what I like about these pictures, you brought the lures that they're biting, and then we bring the pictures as proof of the pudding right there.
You know, it works. We don't have space or the capital to have gimmicks in the shop. It's as simple as that.
And if you can't remember all these, I know we threw a lot at you this morning. Just go out to the 79 store and say, those pictures on Panhandle Outdoors, all the lures that Brad brought, show me some of those. And that's the best.
And guess what? We couldn't bring the whole store, so there's a lot more other stuff. And these make great graduation gifts. I know that's a
great idea.
Coming up.
Yep, that's a great idea. Okay, we're going to get ready for our famous Friday fishing forecast, but first we're going to do our drawing, and everybody always gets excited about it, and don't get mad at me if Brad don't draw your name out. Get mad at Brad.
Especially don't get mad at me.
Get mad at Brad for doing it, because I'm going to set him up to draw your name out, okay? Brad, I want you to draw some of those people that we didn't draw earlier.
Oh, man.
Here's the $20 gift certificate.
I don't know if I want to do this or not.
Pam Hutton. Pam Hutton, that's here in Panama City. She wants $20. It's today is Friday, May 22nd. Okay. Remember, I'll draw your name out now if it was me, but we'll see what Brad's going to do.
Man, oh man. What are we doing here? Red snapper?
This is big red snapper. And that is Tommy Sullivan. Okay. Tommy Sullivan wins a big red snapper. Pam Hutton wins a $20 from Tarpon Dock Seafood.
Tommy or Tammy? I can't read your writing.
Well, I'm sorry. That's Tammy. You can read better than I can. Tammy. Tammy and Pam were the winner, two young ladies, okay? Let's take our break, and we'll be right back with our famous Friday fishing forecast. All right, welcome back to Famous Friday Fishing Forecast. We're going to get started. We've got a lot to go over because the fish are biting. The first thing I want to talk about is freshwater, and this is May, and you know what's going on down all along the river, lower end of the river system? The mayflies are hatching. And I mean, there's fly fishermen up in them splatting and all kind of stuff. But this past week, we got word that the mayflies are starting to hatch down there.
Good deal.
Big news for the freshwater folks. Let's start off down in Carabel this weekend, Memorial Day. Red snapper tournament at Sea Quarters. I've talked about it for about 2 weeks now. It's going to start in the morning, May 23rd, the 23rd and 24th, and we're going to have some really nice prizes. And like I say, you can enter it tomorrow. You're coming into Carabel on the left right here. You're going to come across the bridge right there, across the Carabel River, and go right down here to Sea Quarters Marina, sign up, and go out the river. And I can promise you, there's going to be some big red snapper brought in this weekend. So don't forget the first annual Memorial Day red snapper tournament at Sea Quarters. Moving along westward now. Now remember, I've been talking about surf fishing off St. George Island, off at the state park down here. You can fish from the beach. Brad, the great thing about that, you can drive on the beach down there.
That's true.
And fish. But keep in mind, the state park limits it to 20 vehicles at a time. So you got to get in line early on weekends, especially Memorial Day, to get in line. Just the first 20 people can get in to fish on the beach there for surf fishing. It's a great opportunity to do that. And you probably want to have a little bit of four-wheel drive.
Just a hair. Okay.
Moving on down in this area. Really big trout coming out of Apalachicola Bay this week. The guys had a really good week on some large speckled trout. Let's come on down here to St. Joe Bay. I went to Blue Water Outriggers the other day and talked to them, and they're really same way on trout down there, okay? The really nice trout. Mexico Beach, Captain Mitch Coleman, Florida Days, it reports the water is warm to 82 to 83. And it's like we talked about, the water temperature just really went up here and down Mexico Beach. Trolling, they're catching a lot of kings out of Mexico Beach. Slow trolling, it's going to be great this weekend. Plenty of snappers, and for open weekend, as a guide, he's seeing a lot of snappers. And the bigger fish, of course, are going to be away from structure. A lot of times we want to fish right on top of that structure, but remember, the big red snapper is going to be away from structure. Flounder and trout are both being caught in the canal there. All right, Brad, let's jump on up here too. I had some great reports from East Bay this week. So what are you hearing with your guys?
I don't know where they're going. They're keeping tight lips, especially when they know I'm about to come on here. But big flounder this year, like we've never seen this earlier in the year. We're catching a lot of really big flounder, and the speckled trout fishing's big. You know, you saw those 2 right at 4-pound trout, and they all say they lost bigger ones. Now, that's fishermen for you. Lost bigger ones right there at the net.
The one that got away.
Exactly. You know, they're like, everybody in that tournament's dead set 6 pounds is going to win it. So we'll see.
The big thing too, I've seen those pictures of the big flounder. It's been unusual to catch them this big this early, but they are doing it. One of the things also Mitch Coben mentioned, he was talking about the king mackerel bite has been real strong. Right here in Panama City, coming out of the pass and all, they're catching some nice kings.
Absolutely.
The kayakers are catching some.
Kayakers are wearing them out. You know, more towards the west end of the beach to try to hide some of that boat traffic.
That's exactly right.
But man, it's the speckled trout and king mackerel bites. They've been bigger fish, and they're catching those big axe handle Spanish as well.
Nice Spanish.
And the mahi. We can't forget about the mahi. The mahi are all over the place.
I mentioned that on Tuesday morning show. I got word Tuesday or Monday afternoon, the mahi are here. And so I'm glad you brought that up because I did not write that down.
It's a little early. Forget about it. And they say, it's just not an occasional fish. You know, you're coming up on those bigger weed lines that are all within a mile or so of the beach. And, Lots of floating debris, which is a great sign for our fishery.
We had that big tournament last weekend on Choctaw Bay at Nick's restaurant over there, and they had, I think, about 29 boats in it. They had it was pretty windy last Saturday.
Yeah, just a hair.
They had a rough time, but had a good turnout, and I didn't get to get up there and cover the weigh-in, but I know everybody had a great time over there. Also, I wrote down AJ's, the Amberjack, they're on offshore. They're hammering them right now.
They are.
A lot of Amberjack. Now listen, I know you're getting ready. Memorial Day weekend, and it's, you know, it also kicks off the safe boating. It really kicks off boating for the year, the power boats and all. So be careful when you're out there. Watch out for these kayakers, okay? And these kayakers, watch out for the big boats.
Yep. Everybody's got to just use a little common sense.
Yeah. And if you're over there fishing around the jetties and all, don't get too close to those rocks, because those waves over the years just seem like they get bigger every year.
And I've heard more incidences in the last few weeks of power boaters almost hitting other power boaters. Yeah. Just, you know, coming around the corners, you know, burning the flats. You know, there's a guy out there poling. He can't get out of your way.
Well, exactly. You know, we talk about it over and over again. They don't have brakes on those boats, and it seems like people want to go so fast these days.
They do. We're all in a hurry.
And I think one of the fastest groups really on freshwater are our bass fishermen. They put that hammer down and take off. And so just be careful and aware of it. Getting on freshwater now, both rivers are right for freshwater. You're going to get up on those sloughs. And I think you're going to start seeing a lot of these kayakers and people fishing fresh water, because they can get up there in shallow water and just fly fish real quiet.
Absolutely.
And on the Choctaw River and the Apalachicola River.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. We've got about a minute left here. I want to want you to entertain the notion now. If you go to Crooked Island Sound, let's take a look at Crooked Island Sound. Always a popular place for kayakers, always a popular place. But again, when folks, you put your boat in back here at the old Davis Beach and come on out here, shark fishermen do a lot of shark fishing right in here. A lot of folks put their kayaks, they put the kayaks in a couple places here, paddle across here, and just put the kayaks here, walk across here. Great surf fishing for pompano all through here. Okay, so that's one of the hot spots is going to be for Memorial Day. Got to wrap it up, Brad. Thank you, buddy.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. Y'all have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. Be careful. Do something good for someone else, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.